Hey guys, today I'm taking you to Cabin Creek Peak, and it's up Strawberry Canyon, sort of, out of Star Valley. The cool thing about the peak though is one of the old-time fire lookout stations is up on top. And it's a wooden structure they used to backpack in or horse pack in supplies, and guys would sit up there for 5 or 6 months during the summer, usually on a rotational basis, guys and girls, and watch for forest fires. They used to be all over the western United States, but they're usually small cabins, and they just set up there for the summer and watch for fires. I'm actually reading a book right now about a guy who did that for about 10 or 15 years, just the last decade down in Arizona in the Gila Mountains. But Strawberry Canyon's really pretty. I'm with my daughter Emmy and my dog. It's about a 10-mile hike in. We're running and hiking, so it's a pretty morning. Got an early start. Another weird thing about this trail through these woods here is there's maybe a 1/4 mile or a 1/2 mile section where it's just beach sand. It's really weird. You don't really see that in the high alpine woods, this beach sand like that. But it's just soft sand, like there was a sandbar from a giant river up here, but this is a high alpine hanging valley in the mountains, so it's kind of weird. It's pretty neat. So once you get back up into Strawberry, there's this high alpine hanging valley back up in here. It's really pretty with all these meadows and a creek through it. And then I don't think that's the point. I think it's the next one back is Cabin Creek Peak with that fire lookout tower on it that we're headed to. So the dog's eating grass. Is that good stuff? There's a cool waterfall, a little waterfall. So for the last few miles, couple miles, we've been climbing higher and higher into this basin to the back of it, and then we'll go up to the peak. But there's been snow patches we'd have to climb over, and up in here, the trail's gonna disappear completely into the snow. So it's been pretty cool. Lots of streams coming down through, and waterfalls. We had to cross the streams quite a bit. It's cold water walking through it. It's really pretty back up in here. I'll probably film next up at the cabin, or maybe at this saddle. It has pretty cool views of the Wyoming range through here. So we made it up that long valley drainage to this saddle here up in the Wyoming range here, and there's a trail that goes down. We're gonna run it all the way down, and it wraps around, and then the peak is up out of view over there with that cabin, that fire lookout cabin on it. It's pretty. It's really pretty up here. All these high meadows with deer and elk and bear and mountain lion and whatever. So we've gone 8 miles this morning in about 2 hours and 40 minutes. So kind of slow going. A little bit of running here and hiking there, and a lot of hiking. All right, next time I film, I think we'll be up at that Fire Lookout Cabin. So there's the lookout cabin on that point up there. And we are, last time I filmed I was way out over there on a saddle back against that peak. We dropped down in, climbed back up this trail. So now we're looking down into the Grays River drainage. Jackson Hole, there's the Tetons right there. Behind that peak you can kind of see the edges, so those are the Tetons behind that peak there. Not this peak, but the faded ones behind it. Jackson Hole's there. Labarge, Big Piney, Pinedale, I think Big Piney. Back over that ridge there. Afton, Wyoming, and Star Valley's out over there. So climbing up this ridge. It's a pretty steep drop down into the basin there. Beautiful Wyoming day. There's Haystack Peak out over there. That's my house at the base of it. I was on that yesterday actually. I wanted to show you guys this tree. So this might be a boring video, but look how old and gnarled it is. And then just all the twists and stuff in the trunk. It's pretty cool. Different layers. Almost looks like 3 or 4 trees over a couple hundred years just twisted and grew together. But, oh, there's some green on it still. It's still alive. It's pretty cool. There it is. Cabin Creek Fire Lookout. You can see snow up here. You can see forever the whole Grays River drainage out here beyond. Just looking for fires, I guess. There's a road that comes in from Alpine and comes up and in. There's a little lake. It comes all the way up and then turns into a Jeep trail and takes you out to Labarge and some of these western mountain towns. But they would stay in these things for, well, some of them they'd stay in for the whole summer. Bring gear up by horse typically, and it's been vandalized. It's full of snow. Got a big block of snow in there. Looks like they had a wood burning stove and all these windows. But a bunch of graffiti. It's too bad. A lot of it's busted up, old wires. They'd have a water catchment system on a lot of them where the rainwater and snow melt would catch and then go into a cistern, down a pipe into a holding tank so they have water. Just depending on how they were used. But you can see forever. So there's Haystack Peak. So me and Emmy parked down a canyon there, went all the way up the bottom of the canyon, came up the bottom of the canyon, looped all the way around and came up here, and took us almost 4 hours, and it was 10.5 miles. Some steep climbing. So I live down at the base of those 3 peaks right there, those 3. And that one right there is Haystack Peak, which I took you up to a few weeks ago. And I went up there again yesterday and we slid back down that glacier. It was still there. A lot of it was melted down, but it's pretty cool. Well, that's it. That's Cabin Creek. Beautiful views. Oh, there's the Tetons. You can see them now. Out there in the distance. There must be a forest fire somewhere. It's a little bit hazy on the horizon, but out there. Not this closest one, but the farthest ones. So I elk hunt all through here. I archery hunted last year back up in here and shot a bull elk with my bow. And then me and my dad have some tags for back up in here for later in the season, so I'm excited to do that. Beautiful, beautiful western Wyoming here in the mountains. Dog likes it. He's a little tired. He was sprinting around a lot today at the start, all over the place. First few miles, just sprinting all over. So, alrighty. If I don't film again, thanks for coming on this field trip. Hope you liked it. I might actually film a little more when I get home and tell you some details about these fire lookout cabins from the book I'm reading. There's some pretty cool stuff in there, so maybe I'll do that. If I don't, thanks for coming on the field trip, but you might see me pop back up here on the video at home. My dog doesn't run off a cliff chasing things. He likes to chase rolling rocks and rolling snowballs. Goober. All right. I lied. I forgot there's a geological marker, USGS marker here I wanted to show you. But they put these up all over the US. So this one says Cabin, for Cabin Creek Peak, Cabin Peak. They put it here in 1946. So they pound it into the ground or drill a rock and put it through the rock and cement it in. So I'll come across these all the time exploring. It's pretty cool when you see them. So anyway, all right. This time I think I'm done for real. Chase him. Come here. There's one. Get it. Those are their shadows, dummy. Keeps chasing butterfly shadows. He doesn't even look at the butterfly, he just looks at their shadows. What a goober. Get it. Get that. Get that shadow.